Hey, welcome. How are you doing? There is some lovely weather here in England at the moment, and whilst it's a bit cloudy, I thought I'd do my image editing outside today. I won't waste any time. Let's load up Lightroom because today we're going through some unseen images from my challenge at the beach. Stick around as well because I'll be going through some of the ICM that I took, and you won't want to miss that. I've even got my cat meowing at me from the grass. So I've got an audience for this video. So this is the first image I want to share with you today, and I'm cheating a little bit here because this image wasn't taken as part of the challenge. It was taken on my way to the new section of the beach that I'd never shot at previously. It's the blue boat. It's a composition I've talked about so much. I talk about this composition even in just my third video that I uploaded to YouTube. I'll add a link here if you want to see that video, as it's one of my favourite images from 2022. One of my major gripes about the original image is not taken during golden hour. Don't have that punch with the sky, don't have those punchy colours of a sunrise. However, when I went the other day, I was early. I arrived again at the beach during sunrise, so I couldn't resist stopping and to try and grab another attempt. As you can see though, the boat's been moved. It's no longer to the left of the groins, it's now more in the centre of the beach. So picture this, I've got sunrise happening live in the distance. There's me desperately trying to find new compositions to get the ideal new shot. And this is what I came up with. As you can see, the sun is already on its way up, but we've still got some drama. We've got those lovely sunrise colours in the distant sky, and I just love how the sun reflects off the water at the base of the groins. The tide was still fairly high at this stage, but it was on the way out. Regardless, I was able to create a long exposure from the crashing waves. As the sea, it was pretty angry that particular morning, I'm not going to lie. This particular shot was 2.5 seconds, so it's a pretty dark shot for the moment because it's 5 exposures merged together. So let's start getting some proper detail out of this image. Naturally, we want to start by correcting the crop. We want the boat over on the right of the image, and we need to ensure that the horizon, if I get my words out, is nice and level, as that's a great way to ruin an image before the edit even begins, unless you're going for a Dutch angle and you want to do it deliberately, but that's not what we're doing here. Preset and profile, I've already selected those, which gives me a nice starting point when adjusting the sliders. What we want to do is we want to start by correcting the darkness in the image through the shadows. So let's pull that nicely over to the right, like that, and then the exposure as well. We just want to lighten up the image a little bit, meaning we can now start to see some more light and detail. Just need to decide if I want some softness in the colour through the contrast. So if we pull it to the left, it lightens that up a little bit more, whereas we pull it to the right, we get a bit more colour, we get a bit more richness in the colour, because it does darken the shadows just a little bit too much. Now it's just a case of playing with the clarity and texture sliders. You know how much I love to go for the painterly look, yet at the same time I want this boat, it's the centre, it's our main subject, I want that to be nice and sharp. So while I may soften up the shot as a whole, I think I'm going to have to add a mask against the boat to bring some of the detail back. Second image that I want to share with you, and is this one a little bit too messy, too much going on? I do love the chaos of the flotsam and jetsam with all these seashells left by the tide. It's not a minimalistic image by any means, but equally I do like how the shot is focused on these shells here in the midground. I love the sharpness in this shot. Jumping straight into the crop, and I think I want to go for a shot that removes a lot of the clutter Equally, we don't want some elements only half appearing in shot. So we've got to be careful with what we take out and what we leave in. We don't want any half, and the half of any shells cut out and left in. It's going to look weird. You'll notice from a lot of these videos that I stick to the basics when doing an edit. Having used Lightroom for a while now, I have a pretty organized workflow that I attempt to stick to with most images, and that's the workflow you're seeing here now. I don't mess around with the tone curve, don't know how to use it. Maybe one day I'll learn, but for now I leave well alone. Quite often I'll touch on the HSL, the hue, saturation, luminance, and maybe the detail tab. Maybe I'll remove or add some sharpness, and maybe might need to have some noise control if I've had to use a high ISO, those sort of things. Otherwise, keep it nice and simple where possible. Then again, it is just a case of repeating the workflow that I've already mentioned. Once you've found your own specific style of editing, when you do come to reviewing your images in Lightroom, you'll be so used to making the same adjustments that it becomes second nature. Here we want some strong contrast, so let's pull that slider to the right. Here we go, yeah. I've done that because look, if we pull the slider to the left, I've already experimented. Let's pull the slider to the left. It looks horrible. Experiment with the sliders. Discover what you like and dislike. We don't want to play, in this case, with either the clarity or the texture, as we want nice detail in the shot. We want to leave that sharpness. If anything, I'll maybe move the texture a little bit further to the right. There we go. So with this image, the changes are minute. Crop, contrast, little bit of texture, that's all that was needed once the preset had been chosen. Now then, ICM, intentional camera movement. I see images like this all the time on social media. They're beautiful, simplistic shots, especially at beaches where the colours just seem to blend effortlessly. But we're spending so much time at the coast, I thought, look, it was time to give it a go. As you can see, however, I need to practice a little bit more before I can think about sharing any effort on social media. It didn't help, of course, from Sunday's video that I got my aperture settings all wrong to begin with. It's why getting the right settings is so important, but it's proof that many forms of photography require a level of skill that can't be picked up on a whim. Like anything new, it requires practice beforehand, and evidence of this particular effort. It just shows I need to practice a lot more before the discussion of ICM comes up again. The fourth and final image I wanted to share with you is one of my favourite abstracts at the beach. These lines created by the tide litter beaches, and I find they're great subject matter whenever I'm at the coast. So in terms of finding a composition for the challenge, this was potentially one of the easiest that I had to look for. In this situation, you could see reflections on the sand, creating some lovely spots of light. Now, I've already cropped this shot. Didn't really need to be honest, as the shot is the same the whole way through, but wanted to focus closer on one small section of the scene here in front of us. Equally, want to pull the temperature slider to the left just a little bit. It's a fine line here, so we don't want to lose the color in that light by making this image colder. At the same time, if I pull the slider now to the right, it feels exaggerated. You see how exaggerated that color is. So it's about finding a happy medium. I do want to adjust both the exposure, darken the image a little bit, and the contrast. As you really want to highlight these pools of light that I've already mentioned. Like I say about any edit, too much change and the shot becomes a bit fake unless you're going for a painterly look. Even then, you've got to be cautious. Too little and it looks an unfinished edit. So it's all about finding the right amount of balance when working in Lightroom. On that note, I'm going to end here. See you back out and about on Sunday. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.